Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for Thursday's show. On the satellite, you can see a pretty nice day here across the southeast coast. Have some clouds down here spreading northeastward, but still off the coast in the mid-afternoon hours. Also that mostly high-level stuff out through here, but pretty nice all along the North Gulf Coast. We're a few clouds up over the northern areas, made for a partly to mostly kind of day there, but over to Yakutat, where it's overcast this afternoon, but pretty good conditions all the way across southern Alaska into Bristol Bay and the Kuskokwim Delta areas, and even sunshine all the way out to St. Paul and St. George Island today, with winds not all that strong, just a breeze out there from the northeast. Rain down here with this frontal boundary that's extending, that's just south of Kodiak, bringing the rain, in some cases over half an inch of rain to Alaska, and also some wind. Winds gusting 15 to 30 miles per hour with that feature across the Alaska Peninsula, with the exception of King Cove that had gusts to 53 miles per hour, and Cold Bay up to about 40 miles an hour earlier today. The rain gets a little more intermittent and lighter up to the north. Easterly flow there carrying some light rain and fog at times into Kodiak Island. A lot of cloudiness there, but places like Seldovia, Homer, Seward, all in the sunshine up until you get into this frontal boundary here. Clouds spilling into the Alaska Range, Denali Park area. In fact, some thunderstorms are beginning to break out or had broke out during the afternoon. They're just southwest and west of Nenana, where Nenana was reporting some light rain, actually a band of light rain from that area all the way up northeast across Fairbanks and across the Yukon Valley up to Arctic Village. Not much reported on the eastern Arctic coast up there, but pretty nice day. Sunshine again in the Copper River Basin. Behind the front, skies breaking out. You can see some clearing occurring in the Kobuk and probably going on right now in the Koyukuk Valley toward Bettles after some rain earlier, and clearing out in the fog lifting there across areas of Kotzebue Sound. But Shishmar off on the north side there, zero visibility with an overcast 200-foot ceiling there, so really socked in areas out here on the north side of the peninsula. Northeast winds though clearing it out over the Nome and Teller area over to about Tin City. And then another batch of moisture coming in with another front that's developing, this one weakening, another front developing and pushing in some lower stuff back into the Arctic coast there. Barrow reporting 1.25 miles in light snow and fog this afternoon, and IFR all the way down the coastline there to Cape Lisburne. Out to the west, again, not much over the Bering Sea, kind of a cloudy, occasionally patchy, foggy day there for Adak and Atka. Rain out there in Shimia with that band of clouds way out to the west. Putting this into motion again, you can see low pressure here in the southern part of the map, and then this system swinging up to the north. That's going to continue to work its way northward. This is the position late this morning here, and right about there again with the wind and rain across the Alaska Peninsula into the Unalaska area. High pressure right along the southeast coast there. Light winds and fair skies, a lot of sunshine again, and this front edging its way south and a little bit to the east. Really not a little more formidable looking than it is here, but it was kicking off some thunderstorms. Most of the action here from about the Dawson area down to roughly Beaver or Destruction Bay and on into that whiter shaded clouds there over toward that low. and then again breaking out, and then there's that next front actually beginning to form a little bit. We'll see tonight that drops to about this position and more or less links up with the one that's in advance of it. Leftover moisture, look for some showers scattered around the Tanana Valley, especially along the eastern Alaska Range, locally down to the Copper River Basin, but no significant moisture at all getting south of the mountains. And then we'll have just another narrow band of precipitation with that feature. Very weak low here in the central interior, another low hanging back off the Arctic coast there. In the chillier air behind this one, with any elevation at all, whatever falls in the Brooks Range in the western mountains out here will be in the form of snow, otherwise kind of a mixed condition. Drizzle, sprinkles, flurries, and IFR here from Barrow, again all the way down to Point Hope and Cape Lisburne, and that'll spill into the Chukchi Sea as well. The Bering Sea, mostly northeast winds out there with a lot of low clouds. Some clouds beginning to develop here, but it should be a really nice evening, staying clear over Bristol Bay. A few scattered showers, mostly south of the Aleutians though, but a few lingering back up to the north. A little bit more in the way of wind, especially southern portion of Kodiak Island. Probably looking at small craft advisories there with rain becoming a little more continuous and a little heavier as the evening and overnight period wear on. But improving back here over the peninsula, definitely less wind. Still a lot of clouds and occasional light rain, but winds will be diminishing there in the windier areas, and then rain beginning to show up along the south coast of the Panhandle, but most of the area looking pretty good. And then for tomorrow, you can see really taking its time, edging eastward, just a chance of rain along the coast, say from Sitka all the way down to Dixon Entrance with very little inland, still high pressure ridge holding over that area. And low drifting a little bit to the north here, so a very wet, cloudy day there for Kodiak Island. Continuous light rain. The amounts won't be all that much, but be pretty persistent. IFR through this area, especially on the east side of the island. VFR continues up here along the North Gulf Coast, so there will be some increase in the mid and high level clouds right along the coastline, mostly to the south. Dry for the Copper River Basin, a lot of sunshine, south winds in the afternoon kicking up to 25 miles an hour. So that's going to bring the fire danger up quite a bit in that area. Another sunny day back across Cook Inlet here, Madanuska to Sitna Valley, all the way out into Bristol Bay, but rain at times and clouds over the Alaska Peninsula. And this front edging its way eastward, but really breaking up here. Just some scattered showers or light rain along it, really not making a big push to the east or the south. Here, the upper level low associated eventually going to edge its way southward, so this will be coming southward, as we'll see on Saturday. New low, a weak low there over the, just east of Bethel in that area with the frontal boundary now quite weak. In fact, just clouds, no precipitation associated with it at all through this area. Look for some scattered showers to develop over the Kilberg Mountain areas, maybe an isolated thunderstorm here over the interior areas. That'll extend all the way up to the Brooks Range there, clearing out back to the west, and this front trails out to another weak low there, which will keep conditions wet, mostly over the Shimei-Attu area, while the central Aleutians look pretty good. Not much in the way of wind. In fact, very light winds out here. Strongest will be about 15 knots for the eastern Aleutians there, with less wind, 5 to 10 knots for the remainder of the Aleutians. Even the Bering Sea here, a little breezy. Could still see some 20-mile-per-hour winds at times from Tuxuk Bay there, possibly on up to St. Lawrence Island, but those will be coming down. And then a little brisker wind here, probably around the Cape Lisburne, Point Hope areas from the northeast coming north, and probably looking at a narrow area of 20 to 25 knot winds coming into the Bering Strait. But otherwise, northeast winds up along the Arctic coast, so low clouds will spread inland over the north slope during the coolest hours of the day, and then probably rapidly burn off in the afternoon in areas, but the coast itself probably staying socked in most of the time with some low clouds, occasional IFR, and maybe some drizzle and fog as well. Otherwise, this front now slips on in over the southeast coast, probably Friday night, and stays there through most of Saturday for occasional rain. Same thing for the North Gulf Coast here, and then some of that will spill in, mostly on the east side of the Kenai Peninsula up into western Prince William Sound. And another weak low there over Kodiak, so again, mostly IFR kind of day. And eventually this front moving through late in the day, but some more showers, scattered showers behind it. And then this system here, at this point in time, looks like it'll take off to the east and then turn northward and spread some more rain and possibly an increase in the winds to the southern southeast coast, at least by the afternoon on Sunday. Otherwise, temperatures today down there not too bad, running from the upper 50s to lower 60s, except for 52 at Elfin Cove, 58 up at Skagway, 57 over at Cordova. Middleton Island had 52, while Valdez came in with 58 degrees, 53 at Kenai, 58 down there in Homer. Up in the valley, a little warmer, 66 at Talkeetna, about the same there at Gulcan and Copper River Basin, 60 degrees over at Delta, while Fairbanks had 57. Again, a little bit of light rain occurring here in the clouds, keeping it a little bit cooler. Nenana at 53. But Tanana, where it cleared out a little bit, up to 62. 55 at Fort Yukon, 50 Arctic Village. The Arctic coast, mostly in the 30s there, but 32 occurring at Cape Lisburne, Point Lay, and Barrow, while 37 at Kotzebue and a 52 at Ambler. Out along the there where the dense fog is, Shishmaref 36 degrees, the same thing at Gamble, 45 in Nome with a 48 at St. Michael, but Amonic up to 61 with 55 at St. Mary's. There's a couple of 72s, the warm spots, Bethel, and I think that's Holy Cross or Russian Mission there with 57 in McGrath. Otherwise, Macoriac 54 degrees, 69 in King Salmon, and 52 by contrast there at Cold Bay with upper 40s here along the Pacific side of the peninsula. 49, some rain in Unalaska, and again cooler out to the west with 42 at Shimia. For the lows tonight, mostly in the mid 40s to upper 40s here over the interior, with the warmest locations running something like this, and then cooling off back to as low as the upper 20s there for the Seward Peninsula and the Arctic coast in areas. Otherwise, 40s all the way down the Panhandle there and extending out along the Aleutians. For the highs tomorrow, mid 30s to lower 40s for the Arctic coast and North Slope locations. Otherwise, up to near 70 over the interior valleys, Tanana Valley on over toward Eagle, highs near 70, 65 to 70 here over the Copper River Basin into the Susitna Valley, again with a lot of sunshine today, much like today, and another nice day there back to the southwest along the lower and mid Yukon and especially Kuskokwim River Valley areas. 50s for the Alaska Peninsula, usual 40s for the Aleutians and the southeast coast. Some areas trying to push up towards 70. For the flying weather, here's the IFR, especially for Kodiak Island, extending across the Gulf, beginning to show up along the southwest coast. Sometime tomorrow, may go marginal there on the west side of Prince of Wales Island in the afternoon, but the remainder of the area up to the north, back to the west, all in the VFR, and some areas of marginal VFR here coming eastward, kind of just halting there on the Alaska range and not getting too far past maybe Fairbanks at the farthest east, and then areas of IFR all along the Arctic coast from the Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island, southward to Nunivak Island, and then right along the coastline. But then behind the front, another area of VFR skies, Bristol Bay in the VFR, and then from the Pribilofs, it looks like probably tomorrow, probably developing back into an IFR kind of situation there. And that will probably stay north of the eastern Aleutians, but come down and catch Atka Island, and then Shimia stays IFR. Passes Anatuvik, occasionally marginal tomorrow, and Adigan, the same forecast as well. Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR, either approach, and for Rainy, wide open VFR, windy VFR, and Isabel VFR as well. For Mentasta, looks good with VFR conditions. Same forecast for Tanita. Portage will stay VFR. Chilkoot and White VFR. Freezing levels showing the cooler air staying back to the north and northwest here over the northern Bering Sea areas. That'll begin to shift southward here mostly after tomorrow and into the early part of the weekend. And then this configuration kind of signifying the frontal system that's coming across the Gulf here, but the warmest air aloft right through the interior. And that's where we expect the warmest temperatures to occur tomorrow afternoon in that area. And back out over the Bering Sea, kind of an inversion situation setting up there. So that's why we expect the IFR back in and to become a little more widespread over the Pribilof Islands and on down over the Aleutians. For icing threats, mostly rime-style icing here below 13,000 feet, Kodiak Island, stretching across the Gulf, but not quite making it to the southeast coast, and then scattered areas of mostly more mixed icing up here to the north with the frontal boundary, and then really hit and miss, and probably more miss than hit there to the north and back out towards St. Lawrence Island. And the upper wind showing that upper low coming southward right over the northwest part of the state here, kind of a 35 to 40 knot wind around that, and then still the hints of that high pressure ridge over the eastern interior. So again, look for temperatures nearer into the lower 70s in the warmest locations there. And then this system down here keeping it wet over Kodiak Island, and the main jet though in across the southeast coast, or actually across the Queen Charlotte's, keeping most of the panhandle under the high pressure domination. 9,000 foot winds shows a high there right near the southeast coast. Very light winds here over the southeast interior, maybe some 20 knots winds there in advance of the front, the weak front, and then gusty northerlies 20 to 25 knots, as high as 40 knots out here over the Bering Sea. And for 3,000 feet, trough right through here, light variable winds turning south, but only at 15 knots over the eastern interior. Really light winds there for the Arctic coast, and then these northerlies 15 to 25 coming down, taking a turn to the southwest and across the Aleutians at about 20, and maybe some southeast winds at 15 for the panhandle, but easterlies 35 knots coming right into Kodiak Island and even out over the southeast Bering Sea. Turbulence-wise, occasional moderate chop due to those winds. Mechanical turbulence right over Kodiak Island, especially for smaller aircraft. Same thing here for the Aleutian Range, part of the peninsula. This area staying mostly north of the eastern Aleutians, south of St. George Island. And after the break, Stargazer, I'll be back with the marine forecasts.
Late night lineup.
Hey there, stargazers. I'm James Albury, director of the Kika Silva Pla Planetarium in Gainesville, Florida.
And I'm Dean Regas, astronomer for the Cincinnati Observatory. We're here to help you find your way around the sky. We know that the stars of summer don't come out until late at night, but when you do get out there under the stars, you'll be rewarded with a major celestial lineup.
That's right, Dean. 2 planets and 2 stars will form a conga line in the southern sky.
Plus, the moon will salsa through the heavenly dance next week. Let's see your salsa, James. It's not too bad, not too bad.
And maybe, just maybe, you can catch a fading glimpse of the largest planet in the solar system before it waltzes off into the sunset.
Let's show you.
Okay, we have our sky set to any night this week at 10 p.m. facing west. Let's find our fading planet before it leaves the evening sky.
It may be fading, but it is still bright. I'm talking about the planet Jupiter, and you can see it just above the western horizon after sunset. Jupiter is still the brightest object in the nighttime sky right now, other than the moon.
In a few short weeks, from our view on Earth, Jupiter will pass behind the sun and disappear from our evening skies. And then, a few weeks later, it'll pop out in the morning skies just before sunrise.
Now let's get to the lineup.
We're facing south at 11 p.m. and it is Sunday, June 8th. Let's highlight the 4 brightest star-like objects.
Ooh, the moon is next to one of them.
On June 8th it is, but it'll move throughout the next week.
These 4 bright stars are actually 2 stars and 2 planets. From left to right, or east to west, they are Antares, the red star marking the heart of Scorpius the Scorpion.
Then comes the beautiful ringed planet Saturn.
The one next to the moon is Spica, the brightest star in the constellation Virgo the Maiden.
And last in line is the ruby red planet of war, Mars.
To keep them straight, remember they are lined up star, planet, star, planet. Antares is one of the largest stars in our corner of the galaxy. It is a red supergiant about 620 light years from Earth. If we put our sun next to Antares, I don't think our screen is big enough, but can you see that little dot? That is our star, the Sun, next to the giant heart of the Scorpion, Antares.
Now, let's hop over to the next object in our lineup, beautiful, breathtaking Saturn. To the naked eye, Saturn looks like an ordinary yellow star. It's brighter than Antares, but not nearly as bright as Jupiter.
That's because Saturn is far from us, about twice as far as Jupiter. But when you look through even a modest telescope, then you can behold Saturn's glory, Ah, those rings. They're over 200,000 miles from tip to tip.
Saturn is huge, way bigger than the Earth, but compared to our Sun and Antares, it's a tiny gem in the vastness of space. You've probably been seeing Spica and Mars in the nighttime sky for the past 2 months. Back in April, they appeared much closer together, but now they're separated by almost 13 degrees.
Keep an eye on these two, because as June continues, Mars will again get closer and closer to Spica each night. And on the night of July 13th, Mars will be just a little over 1 degree from Spica.
And that's why this lineup this week is so special. With both Mars and Saturn wandering around, it won't last for long.
Speaking of wandering, what's the moon going to do this week?
Well, June 8th it'll be near Spica. On June 9th, it'll have shifted closer to Saturn. Then, on June 10th, the moon will be on the other side of Saturn, and June 11th, it will be above Antares.
So, as darkness falls this week, look for Jupiter in the western sky.
Later, after the rest of the stars pop out, look south for the conga line of stars and planets.
Remember that it goes star, planet,
Antares, Saturn, Spica, and Mars.
There's a lot to see this week when you
Keep looking up.
Welcome back. Well, winds southeast, 20, 22, 3 knots here along most of the coast. Could see some small craft easterlies up there in the far north end. South up to 15, Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay. Pretty light and variable here, 10 to 15 knots over the remainder of the inside water areas. And for Saturday, more of a southerly direction here, 15 to 20 knots. Still southeast through this area, holding east though up on the north coast, but lighter. And then it looks like with lower pressure in over the Yukon and then building higher pressure in advance of the next front, or that front that's still out there. Looks like southeast winds is 10 to 15, but that'll probably look at 25, maybe 30 knot winds through Lynn Canal in the afternoon to early evening. North Gulf Coast, small craft advisories at times tomorrow, all the way down here to Kodiak Island, maybe into the Barrens. Otherwise northeast 15 to 20 for Cook Inlet. Then those will become lighter and more southwesterly through the inlet itself. Southerlies to southeast, probably have a 23 knot wind coming out of the arm in the late afternoon and early evening hours up towards Anchorage. Otherwise, Prince William Sound, southwest 20 knots. That'll be in the afternoon. Again, southerlies 20 knots for Resurrection Bay. So sea breeze type winds going on there. Otherwise easterlies, light easterlies here. Really light winds for the Barren Islands and Kodiak Island, mostly from an east or northeast direction through Saturday. And for Bristol Bay, light variable winds there tomorrow and Saturday as well. But the Alaska Peninsula looking northeast at about 20 tomorrow. Easterlies at 20 from Sitkinak to Chignik. And then on Saturday, still northeast here for the peninsula, but lighter, 10 to 15 knots. 10 to 15 knot winds also there around the area southwest of Kodiak. And again, as I mentioned, light winds continue for Bristol Bay. Out over the Aleutians, pretty uniform wind pattern tomorrow. 20 knot winds from the north here all the way over to the Fox Islands, or 15 to 20 knots. And then for Saturday, you've got kind of a weak system settling in from the north, so that's going to really lighten up the wind gradient there. Variable to west or northwest, but only 10 knots here from actually just west of Adak out to Shimia, and then north winds really light for Adak and Atka, and then 15 knot winds for the Fox Islands with from the north-northwest, seas running 4 to 5 feet just about everywhere. For the southwest coast, northeast 20, still looking at some possibilities of brisk wind level winds there from St. Lawrence Island right down to Nunivak Island. 20 knots for the Pribilofs out of the north and lighter for the northern Bering Sea. And then this 20 knot wind or less, 15 to 20 knot wind condition continuing here all the way down, becoming a little more northwest once you get south of Nunivak Island. But for the Pribilofs, those northerlies 10 to 15 knots, and then 5 to 10 knots up here for the St. Matthew Island zone. For the Arctic coast, light variable winds on the central coast, east to northeast at about 15 for the east side, and north 15 for the western stretch of the coastline. Then from about Cape Lisburne all the way down to the Bering Strait, brisk wind advisories there, 25 to 30 knot winds. And actually small craft advisories, since we have the seas on here, a lot less ice there. So small craft advisories, 25 to 30 knot winds, seas 5 to 6 feet. And for the outlook for Saturday, northeast winds coming back up to about 20 knots here on the east side of the coast. Otherwise lighter, 10 to 15 knots. Over toward Barrow coming down to 10 knots, and then northeast 15, and hang on to the 20 knot winds here, Cape Lisburne all the way down to Wales from the north. And looking at tonight again, the thunderstorms this evening will just become scattered showers later on tonight here, mostly over the mountainous areas and then back up into the Tanana Valley. First front kind of merges with another one developing and coming down, another band of light rain and showers with that as it pushes through. Then some scattered moisture back to the north, and snow levels down to probably 1,000 feet there in the western mountains. And maybe a little moisture coming into the deltas there, but fair skies across the southern part of the state into the panhandle. Look for the clouds to increase, chance of rain late tonight, maybe by early tomorrow afternoon. A little bit better chance, but still mostly along the central and south coast. Definitely rain and windy for Kodiak Island through tomorrow, and this front really not making much progress to the east or to the south and beginning to break up, just some scattered showers associated with that. And again, any one of the showers could develop into an isolated thunderstorm or two along that front and then clearing out again behind it. And for Saturday, rain comes up to the North Gulf Coast, pushes in across the southeast coast tomorrow night and continues through Saturday. There's the next one. They'll swing up for some more rain on Sunday. Have a great evening.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.